Hey everyone, welcome back to Matt's Digital Odyssey. I'm your host, Matt Marlette, here to guide you through the fascinating world of gaming and tech. I do have to do a quick apology that this episode's a little late. I've been fighting a cold and it's been pretty brutal, but I am digging into one of my favorite topics of all time. A console that was revolutionary, ambitious, and sadly short-lived, the Sega Dreamcast. Not only was it a marvel of innovation, but it also set the stage for modern gaming as we know it. And the holiday season coming up, I can't help but get nostalgic. I'll never forget buying the Dreamcast with birthday money and unwrapping games like Sega Bass Fishing and House of the Dead 2 under the tree Christmas morning. So grab a cup of hot cocoa and let's dive into the Dreamcast, a console that dared to dream big. Now, to understand why the Dreamcast was so ahead of its time, let's rewind to 1999. Sega was coming off a rough patch with the Sega Saturn, a console that struggled to compete against the PlayStation and N64. Sega knew they had to come back strong. The Dreamcast was their answer. This console was packed with innovations. It was the first to include a built-in modem for online gaming, years before Xbox Live or PlayStation Network even existed. Games like Phantasy Star Online showed the potential of multiplayer gaming over the internet, laying the groundwork for today's online ecosystems. The Visual Memory Unit, or VMU, was another unique feature. This memory card had a tiny screen and buttons, allowing it to function as a mini game device or display external information, allowing it to function as a mini game device or display extra information while you played. Imagine having your stats or plays in NFL 2K or raising your chow on the go in Sonic Adventure, only you could see the screen. It was revolutionary. It was also a precursor to second screen experiences that we see with smartphones and tablets today. The hardware itself was also no slouch. It was powered by a custom Hitachi SH-4 CPU, clocked at 200 MHz and paired with a PowerVR Series 2 graphics processor. The Dreamcast could render up to 3 million polygons per second. This translated to sharp, fluid visuals that were leagues ahead of its competitors. Games like Soul Calibur and Shenmue showcased incredibly detailed character models, realistic lighting, and expansive environments. It also featured 16 megabytes of main RAM, 8 megabytes of video RAM, and 2 megabytes of dedicated audio RAM, which made multitasking between these processes seamless. The audio capabilities were absolutely impressive. A Yamaha AICA sound processor provided 64 hardware channels for rich, immersive soundscapes and music. This allowed games to feature CD-quality soundtracks and ambient sound effects that elevated the gaming experience. The Dreamcast library wasn't just about groundbreaking visuals, it had a library full of quirky games, some of which are my personal favorites even to this day. Arcade classics like Crazy Taxi, or the surreal Seaman where you could literally talk to a fish with a man's face through a microphone. Sega's willingness to take risks gave the Dreamcast its unique charm. The controllers also stood out. In addition to the standard controller with its iconic VMU slot and ergonomic grip, the Dreamcast supported a wide range of unique peripherals. The fishing rod controller for Sega Bass Fishing added a level of realism that was unmatched at the time. And the light gun for House of the Dead 2. Even though it wasn't officially released in North America, third-party companies brought that arcade experience home of blasting zombies. While Sambo de Amigo maracas turned rhythm gaming into a party. And the Jump Pack, a force feedback accessory, enhanced gameplay without requiring batteries. A clear advantage over Nintendo 64's Rumble Pack. Now here's where things get a little interesting. The Dreamcast DNA can be found in the Xbox, making it, many ways, a spiritual Dreamcast 2. The partnership between Sega and Microsoft was evident even before the Xbox launched. The Dreamcast operating system was built around Windows CE, a version of Windows designed for embedded systems. This made it easier for developers that were familiar with PC gaming to create titles for the Dreamcast, and it hinted at the collaboration that would soon follow. After the Dreamcast's untimely demise in 2001, many Sega developers started working with Microsoft. The Xbox even shared some architectural similarities with the Dreamcast, including a focus on online connectivity. Remember how the Dreamcast pioneered online gaming? The Xbox built that foundation with Xbox Live, changing the way we play games forever. Even the controllers had parallels. The Dreamcast controller featured a similar button layout and a slot for the VMU, which feels like an early version of the Xbox memory cards and communicator slots. The shape and feel of the original Xbox controller, often nicknamed the Duke, owed a lot to the Dreamcast design. And then there were the games. Exclusive Sega franchises like Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, and Panzer Dragoon found new life on Xbox, keeping the Dreamcast spirit alive. And yes, a lot of games did also go to the PS2 like Virtua Fighter, but it seemed a little bit more fitting on the Xbox. Sega even pushed for the Xbox to include backwards compatibility with Dreamcast games, although this never came to fruition. Oh, what could have been. Still, the influence was undeniable, and some of Xbox titles just absolutely feeling like spiritual successors to the Dreamcast's innovative and quirky library. The Xbox carried forward the Dreamcast vision of blending console and PC gaming, emphasizing online play and multimedia capabilities. In many ways, the Xbox was what the Dreamcast aspired to be, cementing its legacy as a console ahead of its time. As I mentioned earlier, the Dreamcast holds a special place in my heart, especially during the holiday season. My excitement for the console started long before I owned one. I remember watching a special on GameStop TV hosted by Adam Sessler and Lauren Fielder. It aired before the launch and showcased the Dreamcast's incredible features, its groundbreaking graphics, and lineup of amazing must-have games. I must have watched that video dozens of times, completely mesmerized by what Sega was about to release. I desperately wanted a Dreamcast on launch day but couldn't afford one, so I had to wait until I had enough money, funny enough, from my birthday. And when that day finally arrived, it was worth every second of anticipation. I couldn't wait to hook up my new Dreamcast and play. And then my family went all in on my new obsession. I unwrapped Sega Bass Fishing, House of the Dead 2, 2 VMUs, a second controller, and even a jump pack to make all those games feel more immersive. House of the Dead 2 was particularly special for me. I had already spent countless hours playing it in the arcades, so finally owning it felt like bringing a piece of that excitement home. I would replay it over and over, more than I could have at the arcade, reliving the thrill of blasting through hordes of zombies. When I first bought my Dreamcast, I didn't have a VMU, so I kept returning to the early levels of Sonic Adventure, and despite the repetition, I couldn't get enough of its vibrant worlds and energetic gameplay. Those early gaming days on the Dreamcast were a mix of pure joy and discovery. They remain some of my most cherished holiday memories. I probably must have seen that whale destroy that dock 100 or more times. And that wraps up today's episode of Matt's Digital Odyssey. The Dreamcast may have been short-lived, but its impact on gaming is undeniable. From its innovative features to its influence on the Xbox and other modern gaming consoles, it was a console that truly dared to dream. So what are your favorite Dreamcast memories? Or maybe you've got a story about another console that defined your childhood holidays. Let me know on social media at Marlat Media. Next time, we're diving into my favorite game of all time, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, why it's my favorite, and why it's the perfect holiday game. Until next time, keep playing, keep dreaming, and I'll see you on the next Odyssey.